Hi, I'm Donald Roberts. I'm the Chief Digital and Information Officer from Betsy Cadwallader University Health Board. This is part 5 of a 5-part series which describes our incremental approach to EPR delivery for Betsy Cadwallader University Health Board. This is part 5, which takes into consideration the risks we need to think about, and these are based on lessons learned from EPR implementations across the world. It's very text heavy, the slide deck here, and in many cases it might be a case of me actually reading off those just to highlight the key things. The slide decks will clearly be available and they're there for reference. I will also then go to the conclusions really of the 5-parter, which just is a starter for 10 in terms of the conclusions from that, which will be clearly the main part or the main subject of discussion when we present this. So here are the slides. As I said, bit wordy. Don't apologise for that because I've actually summarised some of the risks that I've learned and picked up from numerous bits of reading and research. First of all, there's lots of research available online, and there are some folk who have done some more detailed and in-depth work on particular EPR implementations themselves, including interviewing key people involved and the like. Of 317 EPR implementations reviewed in one study across the world, 90% came up with difficulties in that they did not deliver to time, quality and cost. You might say that for any IT related project, and that might be a normal thing. However, in this case, there have been significant difficulties in terms of project delivery, including limited user adoption, clinical disengagement, lack of engagement from clinicians, of course, increased clinical risks, including patient deaths, significant cost overruns on the project, and major delays to go live. That was from a Gartner study, but there are others which say much of the same things. Should be noted in terms of these studies, a lot of them are based on the implementation of more monolithic electronic patient record systems. However, it's not just the monolithics. There is a whole range of different implementations for EPR, not just one composite application providing everything. There's multiple applications in some cases providing a joined up approach to EPR. So it's not, just to be clear about this is not a particular type. The majority is the monolith approach, your Cernas, your Epics, and your Meditechs, etc., but not 100%. Big risks coming out for us, things that really jumped out of the page for us based on our current state, is a multi-site organisation implementation. Clearly, for East, West and Centre, we have got different ways of working, different operations. So to try and simplify and standardise across there is key, but there are lots of different views and complications, and obviously different things integrate with different things in different organisations, which is a consideration and a concern. It's the risk of immature and untested solutions. So from our perspective, some of the things we're considering might be new and could be seen as bleeding edge. So we need to be wary of that, especially when we're thinking about clinical settings. Critical is the next one, lack of good, and that's the best people who really understand their services, clinical, operational and business resources available to be dedicated for the service redesign. All of our services are under massive pressure and it's all hands on deck. The ability to pull people out who really understand how things operate now and who really understand what good practice is and can potentially take a view on how to work, to dedicate time to working with other clinicians and other operational leads and clinicians, multifaceted AHPs, nurses, doctors, etc. To do that dedicated service redesign, it's a significant risk whether we can get people out of what they're doing now to make that change happen effectively. And Also, in terms of supporting that change, certainly in the digital data and technology function, there is a concern about some of the technical data architecture and service design skills. Data architecture being a very critical point. There are 7 main considerations. Appreciate these slides are wordy, and it's not expected that I'm going to go through some of these, but just picking up on the key points. And in some cases, it will be a case of me reading from these things. So, as it says there, got to recognise shared vision and goals is key, as is ensuring that there is a high level of digital literacy across the organisation in terms of our users. We are doing some surveys that relate to that with the help of DHCW. We're doing both a class usability survey, but we're also doing a digital literacy survey in terms of the use of technology and digital and where people are at. So we should get a baseline on some of that. But long and short of it, we must recognise and get the fact that the implementation of an EPR, however way we do it, is a strategic whole organisation, and in this case, system initiative. It's got far-reaching impacts which are not limited just to clinical domains. So not only do we need the clinical leadership, which we do need operational leadership, data leadership, and ICT. The way we would recommend, and in actual fact the research recommends in its conclusion, because this is a significant organisational change, that change needs to be broken down into constituent parts. There is a requirement. The best practice approach for change now is the creation of multidisciplinary change teams, fusion teams as they're called in some places. These are made up of people, the team around the issue, the team who have knowledge of that particular area, how it operates, what the best practice could be, and includes some resources and change resources to help facilitate making the change happen and properly, hopefully in a user-led way. By doing it in a user-led way, it doesn't mean bespoking it for particular users in terms of the configuration or the design or whatever it might be. It's also about what's the best generic solution as well. So recognizing the fact that this is not an IT program. It's the old 50% people, 25% process, 25% technology. A significant amount of the investment needs to go into this people and process change. Yes, a significant amount of the investment. We do not want to be spending all the money on the software. Yeah. Also, it's suggested that of all the research coming out, strong EPR program manager, hopefully with some experience of implementing EPRs, is appointed to work alongside an office of the CCIO to develop some of those, first of all, cross-organisational workshop to clarify the vision, but then deliver on from there. So shared vision and goals is key to this organisational vision and goal, not DDAT. This is not the CDIO's job. Consideration 2, build strong foundations in our business case, program management approach and benefits realisation plan. Again, it says strong EPR program manager is required to help with this, someone with the experience of that. Yeah, we will. I mean, our response is we're going to deliver it in an incremental way, component by component. Because of the pressures on our system, we recognise that we need to deliver products use case by use case and take a user-led design approach, making sure that by using composable architecture and software capability that we can iterate and start spreading the EPR and moving off our legacy as we go over a number of years with a clear change plan and delivering benefits, of course, on the way. Appreciating that the value is not in the constituent parts, the value is in the whole, but we will deliver value with the constituent parts and create the whole as we go. That is our plan, and how we might even mitigate the risk to some degree in terms of benefits, in that we can stop as we go. Of course, although we're doing things in an iterative way, strong program management is really important overall, just to keep a handle on the whole thing. And you'll see there that thinking about the benefits holistically, having some clear owners and measurement is key. Yeah, and note that from a costing point of view, the full product life cycle is key. Bear in mind, stuff needs to be upgraded, infrastructure. Even I appreciate we're going to be delivering in a cloud native way, so that was a schoolboy error there. But our proposal is delivered in a cloud native way, but there's still going to be integrations with on-premise capabilities. You need to think about the full life cycle, how you will have product teams which are in place to continuously improve the capability as we go. Consideration 3. Well, we've already talked about this. This is a big recommendation coming out of the research, especially the Gartner research, which is interesting. And that is adopt a user-centered design approach to the workflow interface configuration to ensure there is full adoption of the EPR capabilities and to minimize those post-go live impacts. Yeah, really key. Clinical change team needs establishing from our perspective, includes clinicians, yes, but getting those trained up around user experience design, service design, clinical safety, of course, all of that. That is something that we do need to establish. A product-centered approach going forward is the way to do it. Traditional project management methods overarch it, but we get into this approach so that we ensure that we deliver benefits and continual improvement from there because of the investments required and the investments and the consideration. Number 4, yeah, I mean, the thing here is that make sure that we have a keen eye when risks start to be exposed, and we detect those things early doors and we escalate them. We don't just carry on regardless, like HS2 or something. A program manager is to be appointed. This role is very much about nailing down program, project, clinical, project design authority, technical, who's responsible, accountable, consulted and informed about different aspects, ensuring there's immutable go-live criteria which are adhered to, real discipline. We don't just carry on regardless if we're running out of money or whatever. We do open and transparent reporting and make sure this is done right. It's better to do something right and deliver 80% of the capability than try and deliver 100% and fail. So consideration number 5, what's really important for us is direct support of third-party technology partners with strong pedigree in applications, data integration, etc., software engineering and the like. Really important. So regardless of approach, even if we buy some stuff, this stuff needs to be integrated. It needs to be integrated into our separate clinical data repository, remembering our approach is to separate the data from the application to help us future-proof technology architecture decisions, make sure that we are paying particular attention to integration, information exchange and all that type of thing. All things which are important, and actually we may not necessarily have the right skills to cover at the moment. So that's where we might need some partners' help, and again to build our own client-side team. The data side of things is critical. We need a data governance approach. We need a data governance approach to be implemented across the health board from scratch. What are our taxonomies? Who are our data stewards? It's not just about the EPR is the point there, but it's really important that how we manage our data and is key, and we bring in some skills to augment what we've got and raise the maturity level. Things which are specific to BCU, They don't necessarily come out of the research because I think they're fairly unique. First of all, we've got to recognise that what we've got in BCU is chaos in terms of our applications portfolio. Of the 380 applications, over 100 potentially non-supported. We do not know how the data is made up, what the level of data quality is. So therefore, the data may be lost when we migrate. How would we migrate the data from all those systems? There is a gap, as I've said before, in terms of effective data governance arrangements. We are recruiting head of intelligence and insight with those sort of skills to consider our data strategy and governance framework. The investment approved by board as a priority one to bring in some in-house key resources client side. We're just re-emphasising the importance of that, appreciating the financial constraints and some massive bills which have come in from outside, which might have an issue and impact our ability to deliver the best for North Wales. But we've got to sort the basic foundational pieces in BCU in terms of a skills and capability point of view before we can embark on a journey like this. There are far too many projects currently running in a siloed manner. We've got an EPMA project, lots of siloed based projects. I appreciate WNCR, WPRS, the CETO document management program. We do need to review that lot and recommend stopping some things with the support of the Health Board and Welsh Government. We're still propagating and creating more data silos and future chaos. The Health Board, of course, is under extreme pressure. It's in special interventions. And our response to that, of course, we're delivering iterations and we can adapt the delivery speed based on what's happening at the time. However, what we need to be aware of is that we do need to time box things. We need to make sure that we're not adapting too much, and we will deliver in a sensible timeline. So there, in a nutshell, some of the risks and issues about establishing appropriate arrangements to make sure that we don't have a failure on our project. You'll know that a lot of it is about the business change element and the way we do the change. However, we are proposing something quite innovative. We're proposing moving from traditional legacy systems to almost a patchwork quilt of an EPR implementation where we, through a process of co-design with our users and multiple users, we develop cloud native capabilities with a partner with the skills in a componentized way that can be composed with other components to provide services to our clinicians, and to do that incrementally over time. That's our recommendations, but we've got to recognise that a lot of the costs are about the change. So why are we doing that? What are the benefits? Well, they're there for people to see. We've already talked about them, and it will address a lot of the problems that Ambu alluded to in part one. Make a massive difference in theory in terms of clinicians' lives. It also helps us move across from the old technologies, the legacy, which causes risks and issues. So that's an important thing. And actually, we're talking about, maybe 3 million investment a year, which in the scheme of things is not a lot. And obviously, a massive benefit of moving to healthcare platforms and modern technologies that will render on multiple devices, personal devices and the like. I appreciate there's information governance considerations and concerns, but we can have some real modern ways of working. So for next steps, well, we think there is a framework being set up by NHS England, which we can access, set up specifically for EPR developments and programs. That's called the Health System Support Framework, HSSF. There are other frameworks, of course, but that one's been designed around that. We do need to go to market. We need to bring together some service design, user-led design partners, integration and cloud-native software engineering partners, possibly others, who knows. we could, as an option, we could develop a SOC around this to go through a bit more detail, put a bit more detail around this presentation in terms of the options considered and why, in an empirical way, we've come up with the option that we have, as in we could put that into a 5 business case model SOC. Might be a bit overkill, and I appreciate 5 business case model is probably very outdated, but nevertheless, it does provide a level of assurance sometimes to civil servants. We could look to fund maybe 3 components or units to inform our outline business case. In other words, prove by doing. Those 3 units will be built, go live. We could by doing that, we could cost up the actual delivery as a really detailed cost of what the each unit would cost in an outline business case. And the other aspect, of course, is that there's an opportunity here, and the opportunity is clear, is that actually the current EPR marketplace is a legacy marketplace primarily. There are not many innovative entries in that market, so there is the opportunity to develop something as a joint venture. We apply the knowledge, experience, and the clinical input for third parties to develop what would be a next generation cloud native EPR, working on a digital healthcare platform or any of the digital healthcare platforms, which could be a real competitor in the market. So that's, I guess, is another consideration. All these things, of course, up for discussion. So that's the end of our decks. I appreciate there's been quite a lot there to consume. We'd welcome your views on it. These are fairly informal, so they've been done rather off the cuff, but hopefully they will provide some insight, and we welcome thoughts, views, challenges, etc. to this. Thank you.